I was working in the St. Vincent's Hospital as an emergency department orderly. I got a job in the summer. And the only book that existed at the time that did anything with emergency medicine was the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons Journal. And the article came out from J.D. Farrington about backboards. And the article was called Death in a Ditch. I stole the book from the library and took it back to the fire station. And that night, we went down to the local hardware store and got 3/4-inch plywood and cut backboards that very night. Had no idea how to use them, except what was in the article, and began carrying backboards on a station wagon ambulance with no raised roof. The ambulance was so small that if we wanted to do CPR on a patient, we had to put the patient on the floor of the ambulance and leave the stretcher at the scene because it didn't have a raised roof. So the backboard for us became the way to move the medical patients originally when it was too critical to put them on a stretcher. If they were on the stretcher, there was about 2 inches of room between their face and the ceiling. So we couldn't even put any oxygen devices on them. You know, in Jacksonville at the time, the best you could be was an advanced first aider. And we got those neat white patches with the Red Cross on, to put it over your breast pocket on the right side. And if you're really, really good, you became an instructor. And shortly after the article about Death in a Ditch came out, it was followed by the AAOS study about converting everybody to this new thing called an EMT. And I stole that magazine from the hospital and took it to a membership meeting at the fire department. And we talked about changing from our advanced first aid training to this new EMT training. And there was a huge argument. And I remember the discussion. I'm sure that lots of people have heard these kind of discussions, but it was 70 hours of training and 10 hours of clinical time. And the response from the people was, they try to make doctors out of us. Why do we have to have so much training? But like I said, we had backboards. We started doing the basics of EMT training, and we moved on from there. We actually bought an ambulance that had a raised roof then, and it was like, gosh, we have so much room in this thing. Actually, we went to the Schwab ambulance style that Baltimore developed. And then Jacksonville picked up at the time, Jacksonville, Florida, and could actually almost stand up inside those initial Schwabs. But it was like being in a hotel room or something. You had enough space and a bench to sit on as opposed to a floor to kneel on. It was pretty cool. Those big advances in the early days that we thought were so neat. Well, one of the things that all of us do is we plant trees for shade we'll never enjoy. We're always looking to do something for the future. You know, I work very much with the Fire Explorer program. And the things we're talking about today are not for the benefit of those people in the fire service today. It's for the benefit of the people that are coming in the fire service, coming into EMS. The message to those people that are 20, 21 years old, looking at their future, is that it will be what you make it. So much of what we do is what the attitude we do it with. And if it's not fun, don't do it. If you don't like it anymore, stop doing it. Take a break. But understand that life is a journey. We never know when we're going to get to the end. So you have to enjoy it while you're going through it and make the most of it. And if, like I didn't like the fire chief I had at the very beginning, the career job I had. I quit. I wasn't going to put up with 20-some years of that. But look where I am today. As my one son, when he was explaining it several years ago to his elementary class, I said, well, you're the executive director of the International Association of Fire Chiefs. What does that mean? And my son said, he thought for a minute, and he said, that means he's the boss of all the fire chiefs in the whole world. And I thought, what a great perspective. I'm not the boss of all the fire chiefs, but it's a one hell of a long way from that firefighter who was so upset in Pine Castle Fire Control District in Orlando.